Throughout history, royal bloodlines were guarded like treasure preserved, protected, and sadly often kept within the family. Royal families across Europe feared losing power to outsiders, so they married cousins, uncles, nieces, and even siblings. But this desperation to maintain pure blood came at a horrifying cost. Generations of inbreeding led to devastating genetic consequences: disabilities, deformities, early deaths, and lives riddled with pain and isolation. Today, we journey through the haunting legacy of the 10 most inbred royal women in recorded history. Each story is not just a biography, but a glimpse into the genetic and emotional fallout of dynasties that chose legacy over life. Number 10. Marie Antoinette. Born as the 15th child of Empress Maria Teresa of Austria and Emperor Francis I, Marie Antoinette was an archduchess by birth and queen by marriage. Though not as severely inbred as others on this list, her Habsburg blood still carried a legacy of genetic burden. Marie married her cousin Louis Auguste, the future Louis XVI of France. Their shared lineage stretched back to the Habsburgs and Bourbons, both notorious for cousin marriages. While Marie Antoinette herself exhibited no visible deformities, her fertility struggles were well documented. It took 7 years for the couple to consummate their marriage, believed to be due to Louis XVI's phimosis, another possible result of inbreeding. Emotionally, Marie was a product of court life, detached from commoners, naive to suffering, yet deeply lonely. She bore 4 children, only one of whom survived to adulthood. Her end was violent and symbolic: the downfall of royalty, trying to preserve its bloodline at any cost. Number 9. Maria Teresa of Austria. Marie Antoinette's mother, Maria Teresa, was herself a Habsburgon of the most inbred royal dynasties. Her marriage to Francis Stephen of Lorraine was seen as an effort to dilute the Habsburg gene pool, but even then, she carried significant inbreeding. Out of 16 children, many were married off to first cousins. One of her daughters, Johanna Gabriella, died at 12. Another, Maria Josefa, died at 16 of smallpox while on her way to marry her cousin. Maria Teresa's efforts to extend her family's power through incestuous political marriages cemented generational genetic damage. A devoted ruler, Maria Teresa was pious and deeply involved in her children's lives, but tragically blind to the long-term consequences of their marriages. Her story is that of a mother who loved her empire more than the health of her heirs. Number 8. Maria Leopoldina of Austria. Maria Leopoldina, a great-granddaughter of Maria Teresa, married Emperor Pedro I of Brazil. Another Habsburg marriage that tightened the genetic noose. Though she died at just 29, her short life bore the strain of poor health, depression, and pregnancy complications. She gave birth to 7 children in less than 10 years, a toll that her frail, inbred body couldn't endure. Letters from her time describe a melancholic woman, increasingly alienated in the Brazilian court. She suffered miscarriages, a stillbirth, and signs of pelvic deformity that made childbirth excruciatingly difficult. Maria Leopoldina's early death left her children motherless and marked another tragic end to Habsburg fertility struggles. Number 7. Maria Carolina of Austria. A sister of Marie Antoinette, Maria Carolina became Queen of Naples and Sicily. Her marriage to King Ferdinand IV of Naples, her double cousin, ensured that the Habsburg and Bourbon bloodlines stayed tightly fused. She bore 18 children, but only 7 reached adulthood. Miscarriages, infant mortality, and genetic frailty plagued her household. One of her sons, Prince Gennaro, was born with epilepsy and mental disabilities. Multiple children had fragile health or were described as slow-witted, indicators of increasing hereditary degeneration. Maria Carolina was intelligent and politically astute, but haunted by the deaths of her children. Her devotion to preserving her lineage contributed to their ruin. Number 6. Maria Louisa of Parma. Maria Louisa, both niece and cousin to her husband Charles IV of Spain, was deeply embedded in Bourbon Habsburg genetics. She bore 14 children, but many were described as weak or died in infancy. Her son, Ferdinand VII, was particularly afflicted: deformed feet, emotional instability, and signs of possible Klinefelter syndrome. Maria Louisa's physical appearance was noted to be severe. Portraits depict a stout, unattractive woman, possibly suffering from hormonal imbalance. Gossip at court hinted at her erratic behavior and mood swings. Her story is emblematic of women used solely for dynastic breeding, regardless of the toll on their body or mind. Number 5. Joanna of Castile. Known as Juana la Loca, Joanna the Mad, her inbreeding coefficient was lower than others, but her genetic heritage included many generations of close cousin marriages. Joanna was plagued by severe mental illness, exacerbated after the death of her beloved husband, Philip the Handsome. She was declared insane and imprisoned for most of her life, even though historians now believe she may have suffered from major depressive disorder or schizophrenia. Her descendants would include the most genetically deformed Habsburgs in history. Her tragedy wasn't physical deformity but psychological collapse, passed down through centuries. Number 4. Margaret Teresa of Spain. Born to Philip IV of Spain and Mariana of Austria, uncle and niece, Margaret's inbreeding coefficient was a staggering 0.254, equivalent to children of siblings. She was unusually small, had spinal deformities, and fragile health. Her Habsburg jaw was clearly visible, her posture hunched, and she suffered from fatigue. She was married off at 15 to Emperor Leopold I, her own maternal uncle. Margaret gave birth to 4 children, 3 of whom died young. She herself died during childbirth at 21. Her brief, tragic life was captured in Diego Velázquez's famous painting Las Meninas San Innocent Face, hiding an agonizing genetic destiny. Number 3. Maria Anna of Spain. Maria Anna was the daughter of Philip III of Spain and Margaret of Austria, both from inbred Habsburg lines. Her inbreeding coefficient, 0.2422. She married her cousin Ferdinand III, Holy Roman Emperor. Maria Anna's portraits show a heavily protruding lower jaw and long, thin Habsburg nose. She bore 6 children, 2 of whom died young. Letters described her as intelligent but melancholic, burdened by numerous miscarriages and sickness. She died at just 40, likely from a ruptured appendix or pelvic infection, a condition she delayed treating due to constant pregnancies. Number 2. Joanna of Austria. Daughter of Charles V and Isabella of Portugal, both first cousins. Joanna's inbreeding coefficient was 0.211. She married her cousin Prince John of Portugal, and their only child would become Sebastian of Portugal, who died in battle with no heirs. Joanna suffered from frailty and mood swings. After her husband died, she became devoutly religious, avoiding public life. Her son, Sebastian, showed signs of mental instability, stubbornness, and reckless behavior, leading to Portugal's dynastic crisis after his death. Joanna's legacy was one of deep sorrow and generational collapse, both biologically and politically. Number 1. Maria Isabella of Spain. The most inbred royal woman in history, Maria Isabella was the daughter of King Charles IV of Spain and Maria Louisa of Parma, both themselves products of cousin marriages. Her inbreeding coefficient, 0.3053, higher than that of the infamous Charles II of Spain. She married her first cousin Francis I of the 2 Sicilies. Maria Isabella bore 12 children, many of whom were sickly, and several died in infancy. Her daughters were known for having reproductive problems, and some sons had mental or physical impairments. Maria Isabella herself was described as intellectually slow, with limited political insight and a childlike demeanor. Her portraits suggest a broad Habsburg jaw, stubby chin, and large forehead, typical signs of inherited deformity. Her life was one of silent suffering, a mother, a queen, a symbol of the collapse of a dynasty poisoned by its own blood.